Hello everyone. I hope you guys are doing well and had a profitable session today. We certainly did over at Discord. Now, since I've got done early, I thought why not walk you through today's session and share some insights like I always do. So, if you've been watching my video or if this is your first time, my standard approach is to always look left, look back, look at the prior day and understand what sort of clues did the market leave behind and then try to build the picture from there on. So first things first, something that was of major importance, I think no one should have ignored it if you're reading my weekly plan, that is 49.57 held yet again yesterday. And this time it was of even bigger significance because it held so for more than 3 hours. So that is a lot of time spent at the zone, yet sellers failed to push through. And what turned out after that was even more significant is that there was a rally into the close. Now that was the first bullish sign we had by the close of session yesterday. Now, anything of this sort then needed a form of validation, and that typically for me happens over the Globex, or how I divide it into Asia and Europe or London. So what we observed thereafter was that both the Asia and London session held above yesterday's value area high at 49.69. So at this point, your first clue is 49.57 defended, ripped into the day end, and thereafter Asia and London, both sessions held prior day's value area high. Now that is a bullish setup in the making. However, what happened post the end of London session, or let's say the beginning of free market, really changed things up completely. It confirmed the bullish sentiment, right? It confirmed buyer control. How did it do so? It was gapping up, which is above prior day's high at 49.78, and it was also breaking out of this 2-day balance of sorts that was formed. So you had a balance breakout, you had a gap up open, which means now you have, or you are observing, a series of higher lows. Clear confirmation as daylight, this is a market where you want to be long. Plain, vanilla, simple, right? Now, there are two train of thoughts with any session that you trade, right? The first is, okay, we could go for a gap fill. Yes, very valid. And the second is you go with the gap, which is you essentially follow the direction. Now, what we did, and full transparency, this is what we did. Early on, I took a shot at 49.96 at the open, targeting gap fill. However, we managed to just secure 8 points. Now, why did I go for the idea of an inventory correction first when all these signals ahead of the open were pointing bullish? Now, the first reason is that I was already, and rather in the room, we were already long 49.57 because we understand the importance of it. We knew as long as this is holding, we are getting to 49.975008. And that's precisely what happened. So I was already long. So for me, it is like, okay, if there's a pullback, I want to first target a move to gap fill and then add to my position. However, that clearly did not happen because ES defended the top of the first 30-minute candle of the pre-market session, right? We had this defense and thereafter it just ripped through the open. Now, as a trader, I don't like to chase moves. I am someone who really waits and then attacks. So what happened then is 40 minutes before the London close, I stepped in. I'm like, guys, this is what the weekly plan tells me. Next decision will be made at 49.975008. Right here, this is the Substack, which is for free. You guys have access. I keep talking about it. And I think this is the most important piece of work that I actually share every week because it helps you lay that foundation, gives you that perspective much before the price action actually develops. And especially when you're dealing with, how do I say this, a blank canvas from here on. Anyways, so I'm like, we're going to focus on this 5008. London will close in 45 minutes. We will have that clarity. Now, why London close is important, of course, I'm not going to talk about that in detail. It is reserved for my Discord members, but let's say it's a turn of time that you should track. Next, so we come back, we will use 5008 to guide us. First backtest held, etc. Now another 7 points and SPX hits 5000 as well. And your 100% inside day extension is at 518. So now what the last 2 points have done is it has given you a perspective of what you can target, right? That's the most important thing. I'm going long, but where am I going long into, right? What is my target? Where do I take my profit? It's not just random 5 points. There has to be some target, and that target needs to make sense. So that's the update I shared 40 minutes before London close. After London close, I step in. Now that's with after a lot of patience, right? London went home at 4:30. I come literally in 60 minutes later, hour later, and now my update, which is of value. In my live update, I had added period B half back right here. Now, why did I choose period B half back? Very simple. The period A was a 10-point range, give or take, but period B a 26-point range. Now, this is a stronger candle, a more relevant candle, right? This is the candle that took us above 5,000 for the first time. This is significant, right? So we take this 26-point candle, which is a large range as opposed to the period A range. And now the halfback is important to me. Why? Because it's a large range. Now we take this, and where's period B halfback? 5003. And what's the confluence? Exactly between my decision-making zone 4997 5008. Now this period B halfback alone validated the importance of my decision-making zone. Now, trading a 11 point range is difficult. Now, the next step is using MGI and narrowing that range down. And what did I come up with? 5006, 5008. And how did I narrow this? I observed the candle when London session ended. And what was the candle close at that time? 5006. So we had narrowed it down to 5006, 5008 must hold, and we will target 515, 18 to the upside. Now, why did I think about 15 and 18? First thing is 18, as it is explained already, this is the 100% balance extension of the inside day we had on Monday. So there you go, you've got the first target. But then why did I say 15? Because we lacked an excess here, right? You could even say this is somewhat of a poor high, but more significant is the 5013. Now, look back the last 100 points. Whenever ES has printed a poor high, it has literally ripped through that very quickly, which means we were anticipating the same behavior here. But why? Because a poor high could also mean trapped late buyers. Now, the reason is that the context, the conditions, everything is bullish, nothing is bearish, which means this poor high is nothing but another opportunity to go long into for a cleanup or to observe for an excess, and that's precisely what we got. Now, so with that narrowing of 11-point range into a 2-point range, you can observe how we had period B, London close, candle close level, both of them finding confluence within this 11-point range, allowing me to narrow it down. And there you go. We took a long at 5006, some traders in our room, of course, at 5008. And there you go. We had a really nice 13-point participation to our target 5080. Now, of course, at this point, runners are active. We've taken the core position out. So what's important, guys, here is that you would have observed how the clarity was present. We were in a swing long, so I was okay to explore a scalp short, okay? And once the tide turned, I waited for my specific time that I wait for. I waited for those levels to form, confirm, find confluence, and then engaged. There was zero, what would I say, impatience from my end. I did not FOMO. I did not chase. I just patiently waited through for my confirmation to come and there you go, I took that long. Please understand, when you are trading, it's not about chasing a breakout or breakdown. It is about finding that solid level which you can back, so that even if it chops for 3 hours, you know exactly how important that level is, and is why you're not going to flip-flop. So you can see the number of tests we had here, solid opportunity, and there you go, we had multiple tests over here as well. Another good opportunity within the zone, shared with you on a Sunday, narrowed it down today using MGI, found those upper targets, and now you can see again, we are already looking at, and as we speak, we are looking at a potential IB breakout, right? So as long as, right, just for you guys, not that you should be entering here or trading, because I hate buying expensive. I'm someone who likes buying it cheap at 49.57. I like to buy at 5003, not so late, but at least we can use this as a gauge of continued strength, if at all, for today's session, of course. That is, as long as this region holds, which is, you've got your prior poor high right there, you've got your IB high right here. So as long as the 13s and 15s hold, we can anticipate a 50% extension of the IB range, okay, which possibly, if this is 100, so this possibly takes us around here to the halfback, and then ultimately to the 100% extension. Of course, we have to gauge how price action develops at each point and so on. An overnight session again today will be very important to truly gauge a continuation or some form of reversal distribution to take place. Okay, guys, so I hope this really helped you, added value. Again, my emphasis of this video, I know a lot of folks think that there's some magic trick to trading, but I'm going to tell you, order flow aside, supply demand aside, profile aside, footprints aside, anything that you guys use, trend lines, fibs, etc. Put everything aside. Extract from my recordings the thought process. Because if the information that you see, you're able to process it correctly, then all the tools that you use, whatever then those tools are, will then just help you to find a better location to execute, to manage your risk better, to have realistic targets, and to allow you to trade confidently, not to make you second guess. But again, the foundation of all of this is the thought process. So again, this is not my only recording. I've been sharing since last year. In fact, this year I aim to release at least one free recording. Of course, there'll be some recordings for members only, which you can access through Substack, which is at a much lower fee, and that is predominantly for guys who want to learn and don't need my hand holding like it is over at Discord. So again, these recordings are really to teach you and make you understand of how to view markets, how to look at markets, and hopefully have successful, profitable sessions like we do. So I'll leave you with that. You guys have a good rest of the week. I don't know if we need to trade tomorrow. We had a very, very strong week, and someone like me always likes to, take it easy. My mental health is more important than trying to get the next 10, 20 points. All right, guys. So I'll leave you with that. Take care. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.